Hey guys, today we're going to be reading the book Diamond Dreams from the creators of the #1 best-selling book Rare Air, which I'm probably gonna have to find one of these days. 30 Years of Baseball Through the Lens of Walter Ayos. Text by Tom Boswell. I think I see a Mr. Brown Little who I guess brought this book together. So Walter Ayos is, if you don't know, he's probably, I would argue, the most prolific sports photographer ever, because he's basically taking pictures of everybody. In terms of the 20th century, he's pretty much, I think, starting in the 60s. I think he may even start in the 50s, I forget, but 60s onwards, he's just been that guy. Michael Jordan, Ken Griffey Jr., Wayne Gretzky, Tiger Woods, you name him, he shot him. He shot him in action. He's done portraits, incredible portraits and everything like that. So probably my favorite photographer, to be quite honest. And I inspire a lot from him. So, as we usually do, we're going to start with reading this and then we're going to get into the book. Okay, so sports photographer Walter Ayos is, forgive me if I not pronounce it, I don't know if it's Eos or Ios or Ios. Instinctive ability to be in the right place at the right time to freeze the decisive play, the unforgettable moment. The definitive image on film is legendary. During his 30-year association with Sports Illustrated, he has become one of the most celebrated chroniclers of American sport ever. His photographs are powerful, timeless, and endowed with a unique artistic sensibility. Diamond Dreams is an elegant, spectacular collection of more of 130 of Ayos's extraordinary baseball photographs. I'm gonna call him Walter. The sport that has always been closest to his heart, with provocative text by award-winning sports columnist Tom Boswell. It encompasses the finest of Walter's work, from stunning panoramas to dramatic action shots and intimate portraits of the game's greats: Ken Griffey Jr., Don Mattingly, Kirby Puckett, Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, Pete Rose, Darryl Strawberry, Carl Yurzinski, Nolan Ryan, Jose Canseco, Sandy Koufax, Steve Carlton, George Brett, Carlton Biggs, Dwight Gooden, Willie Mays, Wade Boggs, and many others. Here's baseball as you've rarely seen before through the lens of a true artist with a great passion for his subject, as no other book has. Diamond Dreams captures the essence of America's pastime. During his association with Sports Illustrated, Walter's images have graced the covers over 200 times, more than any of those of another photographer. His photographs were recently featured in, I guess they went over to this side too, the phenomenal bestseller Rare Air by Michael Jordan. His award-winning work has been exhibited extensively nationwide. Collections of his photographs include baseball, football, sports people, and shooting for the gold. He lives in Riverdale, New York. Tom Boswell is a syndicated sports columnist based at the Washington Post and the author of How Life Imitates the World Series, The Heart of the Order, Game Day, and several other books. He lives in Maryland. Macmillan Associates, an award-winning design column communications firm, has partnered with Rare Air Incorporated, a communications and publishing company, to produce Diamond Dreams. Both companies, located in West Dundee, Illinois, also produced the sensational bestsellers Rare Air and I Can't Accept Not Trying, both by Michael Jordan, as well as Andretti, the photo autobiography of racing legend Mario Andretti. Okay, so that was our opener, Diamond Dreams. So we are going to get into it with a few cuts. Okay, so you see right here, we've got a picture of Ed Crane Pole in 1969, St. Petersburg, Florida. And again, the lovely thing about these old photographs is just kind of seeing the old world. And one thing I will say is I'm glad I didn't live in a time when cars were this long for a cab. I mean, that's a lot of trunk space, but it's just so much. Like, how do you park that? And this is during the spring training time. You can see you've got this guy from the Cincinnati Reds right here. Great color palette. It's very interesting too, because he has some, like, if you look at the contrast, especially on a 2-page spread, here there's nothing going on, it's plain one color, this, and then over here some advertisements with text and a number, and you know, you got the different colors going on there. Kind of like, I like the isolating feel of that shot. I wonder, oh, and the information for that guy is, okay, this is a quote by Tom Seaver in 81 Tampa. So I'm not really sure who is it. Oh, that's Tom Seaver, 81 Tampa. So they also have a unique way of kind of like showing which picture is which and where. So if the picture's in the front, those points in the back, yada yada. So you get the whole thing. Another timepiece I like here is like Sprite. Like, a lot of us don't know how old Sprite is, but Sprite's been around since like the 60s. I did not know that. I thought Sprite was like an 80s, 90s thing, mainly because of hip hop. But it's not. Pretty good. So got 81, Dave Winfield in Fort Lauderdale. They're doing some you know, getting the Knicks ready and stuff. Not crazy action, but the thing I enjoy about this picture is the way he uses the sprite as a backdrop almost, you know, so it gives it I wouldn't say like otherworldly feel, but you know, it feels different. The grandness of the billboard advertisement, and then it also helps that, you know, the Yankees players wearing white and black. Easy, good contrast. And we got another picture heading here. The Baltimore Orioles during the same spring training. Again, very nice color composition, because I think the Orioles are orange, black, and white, and this is probably red, but because of how, like, you know, different films, this red could be a bit more saturated possibly, so maybe it's orange, but it works perfectly well with the uniforms. It blends perfectly well with it. Like, so that's just great composition work from him as usual. Oh man, see, so these are the reasons why he's one of the best of all time. When Walter takes his pictures, you can feel that he is looking mainly for focus, drive, determination, intensity. He is looking for the decisive moment of the call of action. So right in the mid, he is a chaotic photographer when it comes to his sports. He gets you right in the nitty gritty, and this is a great angle. It's just perfect the way, like, and also it kind of shows you like somewhat of the ludicrousy of when a pitcher throws the pitch. Like, people underestimate the kind of motion you need to have to toss these balls, because these guys, if the ball is too slow, I mean, you basically can ruin the whole game. Like, in the first, it could be the first inning, first pitch, and you throw it kind of slow and he bats that thing a home run. That might be the only score anyone has the whole game, you know. So, because especially since it's a one-on-one game, that can destroy the pitcher's confidence, make the team a little like sick, you know. It's a lot going on. So this is an incredibly good shot. This is Sam McDowell in 1974 in Bradenton, and here we have Steve Carlton, 1973 in Clearwater. So we have a little text here. So I'm gonna read it for you guys to get some more information on here. Once, Steve Carlton appeared before me in the Phillies dugout with a bat on his shoulder. You had no right to look at my locker. I heard you looked at my locker, he said, repeating several times. You made a big mistake. From that moment, perhaps, I should have known that Carlton would end up living in a half-built underground bunker on an isolated ranch in the West, believing in international conspiracies involving everyone from a group of Jewish bankers to a Roman roundtable of 300 that controls the world. And I'm gonna just tell you now, I'm pretty sure something like that probably is still going on. If you look at the Capitol buildings, it's a lot of Roman architecture, especially in DC, especially with the White House and it's not an obelisk, but you know, the Washington Monument, it looks exactly how it does with the church in Rome. So that's the Vatican, it looks kind of basically set up like the Vatican. So that's the funny thing too with these high level, what you notice in some of these books and in media in general, people tend to kind of tell the truth through jokes. But getting back, instead, I just thought, no wonder he doesn't talk. He doesn't want everyone to notice that he sounds half cracked. As you study Carlton's attire in his portrait, let the Alfred Hitchcock background music play in your head. Only one hitter completely owned Carlton, Johnny Bench, who said, "It's like I'm thinking along with him." Once, when hunting with teammate Joe Horner, Carlton missed a bird, then fired off a shot in the air. "There," said Carlton, apropos of nothing, "that's one for the bench." And another thing we're going to do too is we're going to spot how many words we had no idea existed. Gotta get my editor on this right here. Apropos. We need to put the definition down on the screen because what the kind of name is that, dog? Apropos. Apropos of nothing. You killing me. At his peak, Carlton wore earplugs when he pitched, demanded that he leave his own personal catcher, Tim McCarver, and meditated for an hour before each start. He preferred Eastern philosophies or EST, though he tried anything, so long as it fed into his Ubermensch superiority complex. In the Phil's media guide, Carlton once listed his favorite musician as Jacques Heifetz. I can't spell it. I don't know, whatever. Jean-Pierre Rampal and Jean-Pierre Rampal. Then he added that the people he'd most like to meet were Socrates, Einstein, Thomas Jefferson, Napoleon, Yahweh Shai, or you know him as Jesus Christ, and Gandhi. "The batter hardly exists for Steve," said McCarver. "He's playing in an elevated game of catch." Carlton ended his career with a 329 and 244 record, a 3.22 ERA, and 56 shutouts in 5,217 innings. Ironically, the contemporary pitcher most completely opposite to Carlton, the normal, funny, self-depreciating, unimposing Don Sutton, has a 324 to 256 record with a 3.26 ERA and 58 shutouts and 5,282 innings. Both pitched in 5 league championship series and 4 World Series with a 6-4 record. Both retired at the 88. Yet Carlton, because of his mystique and strikeouts, got into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Sutton is, at this writing, still waiting. Who says it helps to be nice to the press? And I do wonder, I definitely gotta look up later to see if he is still not in the Hall of Fame, because this book was produced in, oh man, I forgot the opening scene. I gotta get back to that at the end. This book was presented in, what year is this? 1995. Okay, yeah, 95. So it's been 30 years. So I wonder, maybe he's got in, maybe he hasn't. And then we've got some little pages here. Walt Aston, 1982 in Holman Stadium, and Jack Russell Stadium, 1988 in Clearwater. Another thing he was particularly good at compared to a lot of sports photographers that I see is that he could take good pictures at nighttime. He has this one famous picture of John Elway that he did during it was close to dusk, the sun was setting, and he had his lights set up, and the way he got the background color of like the sky and him, it was just insane. But he, Ellen, you see the moon right here. There's a little moon. It might be very, very hard to see, even if we do a zoom in because of like the lighting and everything. But he even has the moon just kind of poking in there. It's just, he's really refreshing. He could take things with a lot of light. He could take things with a little light. He just knows how to make a scene a scene. That's just what he does. And then we've got Joe Pepitone, Phil Lenz, Tony Kubek, and Tom Tristan, 65 in Fort Lauderdale. This is from earlier in his career. And it's just some guy, they just playing around, having fun. And, same practice here. It's just one of those pictures. Also, this is earlier in his career, so like you actually will notice like the pictures from like the 60s feel a lot different than the ones he has in the 80s at their 20 years of experience, and also technological upgrades too, because as you know, cameras just improve. They damn near improve year after year almost. They're basically like the new version. They're not new version. They're like Madden. They're like Madden for electronics. So not only did he improve in his technique, but his gear improved. So that's why it's easier. You can really tell like how he grew. Okay, so we've got Willie Stargell in 1977 in the Three Rivers Stadium. And I'm gonna leave most of the text walls, I'm kind of gonna just leave that alone for just the sake of the timing and everything. But if you are curious about getting this book, you know, I'm also leaving it for people who want to get that extra context and some historical information and everything, you know, just a little preview. But if you guys support the Patreon, I can also read this whole thing for you instead, and you can just enjoy yourself. But pretty funny picture, just gives you an idea of kind of like that, because I feel like 70s baseball was kind of goofy. It was a really loose time and stuff like that. The players are just out there playing, you know. And here is a very, very good 2-page spread. Is that Deion Sanders? That must be Deion Sanders, ain't it? Oh, it's Reggie Sanders, 1993. I was close to it. So this is Reggie Sanders, and again, man, there's a lot to say. Like, I can't tell if he used like a light with this or if this is not. I feel like this probably is a light. I could be wrong, but it's the shadow on his face, the silhouette. He turned like it's. Because it's big here, I can see a bit of detail. You see some eyelash and everything, but the way that was that shadow was burned in, it just gives this feeling like if you know who this guy is, you know who he is. But if you don't, it makes you curious. It makes you want him to turn around. That's another thing he was good at, is taking pictures that invoke you to feel motion, like not just emotion, but like real motion. Like, when I look at this, I kind of like almost look to the side, you know, it makes you want to look to the side to be like, you know, because the shadow kind of evokes that curiosity. But then as well as he kind of highlights his name and his size, it also makes you think like, how big is this guy? It makes you feel like he could be huge. He could be a regular sized dude, but you wouldn't tell from this picture. And again, with his colors, he has great colors. He's got that orange, bright background there to kind of just fill it all out and then complement what he's wearing. And I wanted to get back to that because this bow cut is freaking ridiculous. And again, he's really good with silhouetting and everything. This is just masterful photography right here that you're not gonna get from a lot of people who don't have a lot of technical expertise mixed with pure creativity and curiosity. This is Connie Mack Stadium, 1966. And the way he takes these pictures, you damn near can't tell. Like, I mean, of course you couldn't really tell what kind of timepiece this is just based off of everyone being in the shadows. But like, at the same time, like, a person who knows baseball will be like, okay, I can tell by kind of like how this looks, and maybe this little board right here that's a bit older, but it's like 60s, 70s, 80s, I don't know, moment in time. I'm gonna read this one here though, because this is a pretty short interlude here we have. This is Walt Herniak, 1979, Fenway Park. Irony. Baseball is a game of rituals inside rituals. Over the interminable months and years, as you move from town to town, it is necessary for the sake of sanity to put some spin on each and every habitual act. For instance, look at the basket of balls next to Walt Herniak in this picture during batting practice. A photographer sees the sun glinting off the right field bleachers in Fenway Park, mimicking the visual effect of the balls in the coach's sack. No pun intended. A baseball beat writer. How you gonna have the balls in the coach's sack and then say baseball and then have beat like right afterwards? Writer might see that bag differently. A handful of times this season, you'll see some old coach or one of the team's scrubs, racing around the infield like a madman during a BP, picking up all the stray balls and tossing them in his bag. He'll be moving too fast. He'll be moving much too fast, causing too much of a fuss, perhaps even yelling or feigning anger. Anything to catch the eye of a few thousand early arriving fans in the stands. Then his arms hugging the full to the brim ball bag, he'll run to the top of the pitching mound, pretend to trip over the rubber, and with a horrifying scream, spin in a circle as if he'd been shot by a machine gun. If the pratfall is executed perfectly, 100 balls will fly out of the bag in all directions, just as the coach comedian collapses on his face in the grass. The team then grades the coach on 1, crowd reaction, 2, ball dispersion, and 3, degree of difficulty and risk of the phony accident. Quotations. Ray Miller, pitching coach of the Pittsburgh Pirates, could stagger, stumble, pretend to catch his balance, then go tumbling 2 or 3 more times before he actually collapsed, as if dead, just as the last ball left his bag. He once got an ovation from the Yankee Stadium crowd. I only do it a couple times a season, Miller said. You don't want to get old. You don't want it to get old hat. Sooner or later, I'm going to cripple myself. That's pretty funny. See, that's pretty funny stuff, and that's how you know this is a good book, man, because it's really giving you some historical context and just bringing things to light that you just wouldn't think about when it comes to baseball. I've never seen videos of any of these guys doing anything like that, but there's probably plenty of people with memories of that. Maybe you saw it for the first time when you were a kid, and you're like, wow, these guys are crazy. But I will say, this is some of the most beautiful use of bokeh I have ever seen in a picture. I mean, damn, bro, it's just like the way this dude shoots, it's like he's bringing in a different world in these pictures, man. It's ridiculous. This guy is on another level. We've got another thing here, Lee Smith, right there. That looks like a pretty hard man. He looks kind of like a Solomon Islander almost. And then we have Dennis Erkesley, 1990, Oakland Alameda County Stadium. Man, I tell you what, these baseball players have some crazy last names. I'm struggling to just get by. Like, honestly, if I get these names wrong, don't tell me nothing, because this is hard. But this is a really good a good portrait, nice background to complement the green A's. As you can tell here, this is probably something he likes to do. His warm-up, he's ripped it off, so probably he can like allow his undersleeve to have space outside so he doesn't get too hot or whatever. Hard stash. That is a hard stash, you know. And I always feel like pulling off that mustache look. I feel like when you got a hair kind of going down like your head, down your neck, something about the hair and the stash works. I feel like, I don't know. I guess you could have short hair with stashes, but like, I don't know. For me, if I ever had a stash like this, I think my hair would have to be pretty long. And I might have to do a blowout, I don't know. But really nice picture. Something simple too, something simple. Not too crazy. And this is taken in 1990. So it also has a bit of a 60-ish portraiture kind of feel, because he also, when he takes portraits, he's not really just using regular cameras all the time. He's used like Polaroids damn near the size of a fridge before. I think when he shot Kevin Garnett, and I think Kobe Bryant before. So he uses Polaroid cameras, medium format cameras. Like, he's a photographer. He's like a real, I feel like any real photographer should have proficiency with multiple cameras, in my opinion, you know, but that's just me. Whoop. Okay, so we got some good, I love, see, my favorite pictures are from 80s and 90s, because that's when film photography reached its golden age and its zenith, and really its last age, like its last true big time age before the digital era. Because then this is when you start seeing these pictures, they'll be very clear. The colors will be very nicely saturated. Shadows are very contrasty. And at the same time, there's a certain sharpness yet softness because of the grain. And especially when the tones are warm, it makes pictures that I just don't really connect with all the digital ones. I mean, I love a good sports picture now, though. Don't get me wrong. Not saying film is better than digital. Not getting into that. But I mean, when you just like see, like you, even if you were about a mile away, you can feel the color in this picture. That's Dwight Gooden, 86, and this Greg Maddux right there for Atlanta. I love how like, and you know, it's a contrast with this and him, you know, with their pitching. They're pitching like, cause I don't know if he's a pitcher. I don't know if he's in the middle of a throw, but I love how they're showing his pitching motion. His foot is like at the brim of his cap, and he's about to toss that. And then you got him here, you know, looking at his eyes again, like what I said, but the determination feel. And I love how, because of his cap, he's got a shadow on his face here. His face is shadowed, and then for him, his face is, you know, especially his eyes. His eyes are just barely exposed along with the rest of his face there too. So his eyes are hidden, his eyes are exposed. That's a good contrast between two pictures. Smart, and at the same field too, Wrigley Field. And then we got here two of these guys, Jack McDowell, 93, and Roger Clemens, 93. Camden Yard, maybe this was the same game, a different game. And two, again, contrast. We can see some contrast going on. With this one, of course, the colors are a bit more, it's more muted, more just gray and black. Not gray and black, but you know, gray, brownish. But this one's, the motion is mostly stop. So it gives you a really nice, sharp picture of a throw. Especially since I've noticed too, it might be hard to notice, but we've got here some blur. A little bit of motion blur, but then right here, perfectly in focus. It's crazy, that rule of thirds composition, you know, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, and he perfectly got him into 3/3. But then this one is a bit more different because there's a lot more motion. Even the ground is like shifting as he's following his throwing motion right here. He's got his face sharp, and that's what, you know, that's what counts. That's the money shot. Really good compositioning right there, and it's showing the difference in these two, you know, professionals gonna be professionals. Oh, here's a good one right here. Who's this guy? Oh man, I love this right here. You see like the kind of the line with the bat, under, over, you know, very good stuff. This definitely looks like this has to be like maybe 70s. This picture of Brooks Robinson's swing changed baseball's theory of hitting forever. See, and that's good. See, I noticed something about the way like this looks. I don't know if it's bad, I don't know if it's good. We're about to find out. Well, not this specific picture, but one almost exactly like it, which was taken several years earlier by someone else. In his playing days, Charlie Lau, the guru of the modern swing, was often in a grouchy mood. Lau was 6 feet tall and 190 pounds. His teammate Robinson was 6'1" and 180 with no visible muscles. When Robinson took his smooth swing, the ball often went over the fence. When Lau swung, it looked like he hit the ball with the proverbial rolled up sporting news. Damn. They don't hold back in this book too, man. Men just talk to each other different back in those days. One day, Lau saw a picture of Robinson in the newspaper, which was taken about one frame later than this. Walter, classic. Sorry, I almost said his last name again. Brooks's right hand had already come entirely off the bat, as it always did. Robinson had hit a home run. What? Roared Lau. He's not that big. He's not that strong. How can he hit a home run with only one hand? It looks like he's throwing the bat. Well, guess what, boy? You throwing that bat and you throwing that ball. What you doing? I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I wonder what time that this is. That was Brooks Robinson, 67. So almost 70. And then you got some funny shots. This dude, he tuned up with the, maybe he missed the swing or something. That's Roberto Clemente in 1966. And then there's another one with a good slide right here in 71. So come here. Oh man, we got a little Bo Jackson action here. And continuation from that too. And so the Lau theory, which has dominated batting cage discussion for the past 20 years, was born. Yes, have the sensation that you are throwing the bat at the ball. Don't grip the bat too tightly. Let your top hand come off the bat a split second after contact. Finish your swing with your weight on your front foot. All totally controversial stuff, and all practiced by superstars from George Brett to Mike Schmidt to Frank Thomas. If the Brooks photo was Lau's eureka, then Tommy John helped get him the better overview of hitting. One day, Lau was expounding on how Brooks, Roberto Clemente, and Willie Mays had all unintentionally developed this new technique, as Lau talked about pet teaching points, like hitting off a firm front side, with a picture of Bobby Vanilla and Mark Grace, 92, and Wrigley Field. And oh man, look, just great bokeh of the people. He's even got people's faces bokehing right here. I think I see like more modern things. You do see the people blurred in the background, but I've never really seen the people blurred but also get bokeh balls on them too. So very intense focus. And a great picture here I like of Bo Jackson with that light coming off, that flash. That might have been his flash, because you know they have flash setups in the stadiums for the photographers. So when they shoot, that's how they get such dramatic lighting in the stadium. Lengthening the arc of the swing, finishing with your hands high, and finding a triggering mechanism to initiate the swing. John started laughing. "What's so funny?" Lau recalled saying. "You're 50 years too late. Bobby Jones already figured out the golf swing," said John, an avid and excellent golfer. You've just moved the plane of the golf swing upwards so you can hit a moving baseball at waist level rather than a stationary golf ball at ground level." In time, Lyle realized John was basically right. If you still like hitting better the old aesthetic Ted Williams way, with balanced weight, both hands always on the bat, and a slight graceful uppercut for extra distance, then blame Brooks Robinson in a picture like this one. Pretty cool, okay. Gonna hit up this one. Okay, that's pretty nice. I wonder why they did a cutoff like this. Maybe he was on his last roll of film, and they kind of just decided, hey, it looks looks like something. Some depth to the double page spread, kinda, I guess. I don't know. It's interesting though. It doesn't look like anything else we've seen so far. And that was Reggie Jackson in 1969. And then another thing, this Amaze DiMaggio mantle. So again, this looks pretty important. A lot of stuff here. I'll let you guys see it for yourselves if you'd like, if you're interested in the book. But man, this is a very pretty picture right here. I love how when they blow these pictures up, like they look like they could have been taken yesterday. Very beautiful picture. Love the intensity in his eyes. I can't tell if he's disgusted with something, or if it's just hot, or if he's thinking, or if he's like, damn, that boy just struck you out, boy. Something like that. Here we go, onwards to another great double page spread. I love how he highlights, because you can tell by the picture that basically he's focusing the highlight on the highlight of the sky. Because for one, it's also overcasted, so the sun is probably somewhere over there, and like probably, I guess maybe over here in the back somewhere, and basically bringing down a lot of shadows. So, and this may probably also have come from a flash because of how specific this light is too. So highlighted for this with the flash there to give him some exposure, and having this while also having the rest of the players on the field exposed properly too. Just about everyone else. So good mastery with that line of horizon and everything, along with some of the fans. That's just good photography work. I mean, you can't beat a guy like this. Come on now. Let's see, how long is this spread? Okay, so this is Thomas Griffey Gonzalez. Let's see, I'm just checking to make sure how much. Oh man, we got some good stuff to go over here. So I'll read this first one right here. Camden Yards opened 16 months before the All-Star game arrived in '93. Architects designed the parks on home runs of historic length, the kind hit by Babe Ruth, Jimmy Foxx, and Mickey Mantle, could reach symbolic landmarks. The B&O warehouse beyond the right field was 475 feet from home plate, and a 490-foot blow to the left field could clear the bullpens, hit a concrete walk, and with a few lucky bounces, end up in downtown Baltimore. In straight left, the second deck was 480 feet distant. Somebody would reach it someday. Nobody discussed the third deck in left field. It was for people, not home runs. By the time the All-Star game arrived, nobody had hit the warehouse or soared over the bullpen or landed in the second deck. Had the designers miscalculated? Was the current generation not quite up to snuff? The mother of all home run hitting contests was held on the day before the All-Star game. A new constellation of sluggers was on display. Frank Thomas, Ken Griffey Jr., Juan Gonzalez, and Michael Jordan. Well, I guess playing for the Boston Red Sox. I guess you gotta sneak Jordan in there. This rare incorporated publishing this. Jordan. But great picture of the sun over his head. with the flash. It's like the light coming down, the light coming at him, holding out that bat, letting you know he about to swing that motherfucker. Oh, he about to take your girl with that. I'm just kidding. But I love how like his illumination over him. That's a perfect use of the sun. You gotta be careful when you do that move though. You gotta protect your eyes. And here's Ken in 1994. Ken over here as well. Very, very, very good. I like how he uses shadows, man. There's something about the shadows in his pictures that look so intense. Like he just knows how to he knows how to highlight, really. I have to study this some more because there's so much depth in his pictures. There's so much volume. And right here, him hitting the sun. I think what they intended to go for is to make it look like he's actually about to bat and hit the sun. And they really got that right there. That might be a strikeout though right there. But I mean, again, ingenuity, the creativity. You know, to be a great photographer is not all about the technicals and keeping ISO exactly at this level and everything like that. When you frame and you compose, you know, be creative when you see an opportunity, because that's how you get shots like this. And you know, once you shoot it once, some shots you don't even have to shoot again. You know, and then this is Frank and what's his name? Frank and Ken Griffey. I love these style pictures. You see this a lot from his work, especially like 90s, early 2000s. I'm pretty sure this was he took this on the Polaroid device that he talks about, because when either he took down the Polaroid or, you know, it's just the lighting that they have with a medium format camera. And trust me, it has to be this is either a medium or a large format picture, because there's a lot of detail that you can still see. Not even necessarily just sharpness, but you know, it's just the sensor, the image being able to just capture like their skin the way it does and everything like that. Great, great picture. And this is Juan Gonzalez. And sorry, Juan, I'm gonna skip over you a little bit for brevity's sake, but oh man, Willie Randolph, 1979. This is a crazy man. So much time. Like I'm telling you, that intensity, he captures that intensity so well. The way he hit that bat. Hit that ball, this swing his arm. It's like he gave everything, his all into hitting that ball, and the way his legs is shaped up. But also, because again, sometimes shots can be accidental and those can be the best shots. And the coloring that he's gotten here with the yellowing and the numbers in front, which also give a great bokeh into the background of this picture. Just great stuff, you know. In 79, so this is when like Walter was really starting to pick up his stuff, like, and become who he is today. And you could just tell by just like the difference between this picture and those 60s pictures, man. He's on something else. And then we've got something here for Ozzie Smith and Chris Sabo, 1993. This is at Busch Stadium. This is at Wrigley Field. Again, I love his portraits. I love how, you know, it seems like he gets a lot of red. He shoots a lot of red. He's always around a lot of red. That might be his favorite color, not just mine. And this is also funny too. This is also one of those pictures that shows just like how baseball, the reason why baseball was so popular in the first place, because out of all the sports, it felt kind of like the common man sport. Basketball, you had to be tall as hell. Football, you had to be swole and ready to just take any kind of punishment. You know, soccer just wasn't, it didn't have much it factor. It existed in the United States, but most people didn't care. Baseball was the one sport where it felt like their genetic limitations didn't matter. It's, can you catch? Can you throw? Can you hit? Can you run? It's things that everybody can do. That's also why it got so popular in places like, you know, Latin America and over there in Japan, because those countries, they don't tend to have the tallest people by a long shot. And in terms of like size and mass, you know, you're just not gonna get a lot of naturally gifted big genetic people out of those places. So baseball was a sport that people can anyone can set up, you know, especially back then. Because with a lot of sports now, AAUs and all these different gears and recovery things, it's so expensive. But back then, for most people, you know, you can just find something that can hit off something and a good sized stick, you can start a baseball game. You know, which was everywhere if you were really poor. But you know, if you had basic money, you can get a bat, get some balls, Because you only really, I mean, shoot, if you guys are all struggling and you want to play a game, you only really need one bat. Just change the bat between batters, you know, and throw the ball, and people make up their own home plates, and there you go, you know. So, switching over here, oh my goodness, man, I'm so glad. I love these double page spreads, and because they know what they're doing when they pick these. They're good planners. The way he catches that ball with the dirt trailing off, again, that sense of motion, that motion. Even though the picture is still, you can feel the motion, you know, and there's a little bit of motion too, right there, motion blur on his foot, the way the ball is perfectly caught, like in his palm. And I also kind of like the, you know, his 8 is there, but his 8 is also right there. So that's some good, it's not exactly symmetrical, but, you know, I'd say perpendicular, whatever kind of word to use. I like that. And I also, again, I like the yellowish tone, the 70-ish tone. Yep, 79. So that might have, again, another picture like this, so you can put 2 and 2 together. And this is probably just the look of his film stock. It makes it vintage. It makes it feel kind of important to me. And then a 91 Cal Ripken picture really here. And you know what? We gotta talk about Cal Ripken because, I mean, he's one of the best. So I'm gonna read this from here. To his intimates, Cal Ripken Jr. has always been Calvin, not Cal or Rip or Jr. John Calvin, Calvin Coolidge, Calvin Ripken, a tradition. The dictionary says that Calvinism emphasizes the supremacy of the scriptures and the revelation of truth, the omnipotence of God, Yahweh, the sinfulness of man, the salvation of the elect by Yahweh's grace alone, and a rigid moral code. That's so much like Ripken. It's spooky. The fundamentals taught by his father, the career coach, constitute the scriptures. The game is above the flawed men who play it, relentlessly exposing their carelessness or lack of preparation. By patiently and humbly playing the game properly, grace falls upon you like a gift. For the time being, you're one of the elect, though you doubt you entirely deserve it. If you play in more than 2,000 straight games, you do it. One day at a time, because good luck, like grace, is in the game's hand. Though Ripken is a baseball Calvinist, he's entirely different off the field. He may be the nicest modern baseball player in the traditional American sense of the word. Once before an Orioles game, I accidentally slammed the door of my truck on the index finger of an 8-year-old boy. The injury was minor, but the boy, a friend of my son, was in lots of pain. My instinctive reaction was to promise him an autographed ball from Cal. That stopped the tears. Reporters weren't supposed to ask players for autographs. It's an invasion of their locker room privacy, not to mention a blurring of the lines between objective reporter and subject. Still, I sheepishly asked Cal for help. "I'll leave the ball in my locker," he said. "How long does it take to write? To Drew. Hope your finger feels better soon. Cal Ripken Jr." I figured I might be getting blown off. Later, I found the ball in Ripken's locker, entirely covered with writing. When I got hurt as a boy. Ripken ended his note. "My dad always told me, you'll feel better before you're married twice." Damn. That's that old man comedy right there. I love how old guys talk about marriage. Because at the time, they be married themselves too, but they just be like, wait until you get a wife. Later, I already read that. That's Ripken. Dutiful, good-hearted, but also a little salty, oblique, bemused, and even a tad shaggy dog. He's smarter than you think, and also more iconic and detached from his role as a hero. What on earth's that kid's going to make of the idea that his finger will stop hurting before he's married twice? I'll tell you now, kid, I'm pretty sure he's felt it by now. It's been about 30 years. We got another picture with info about Wade Boggs. I haven't heard of him. He's got a really interesting face. Looks like a heavy, hard-set man, and I love how you've got the kids over desperately looking for autographs. And a little Garfield right there. This is taken in the 1990s, and I was like, was that the newer Garfield design? No, I think this is Garfield really redesigned after about the 80s or so, or in the 80s after, I forget which. I'm not a historian, but I know this Garfield was kind of newer, fresher at the time. Got the Red Sox info book from the team and everything, but really great exposure. And that's a great jersey too. That's a nice jersey from the Red Sox. I might have to give me one of it. It's clean. And right here, this little picture of him kind of off the side to the left third of the composition. But I also like how the shadows kind of like give it that shh. It's almost like he's in a desert or something. Very good stuff. And again, another great double page spread. You got the man looking like he's kissing his helmet. And from this angle too, it's very hard to tell if he touched base or not. I'm going to assume that he didn't, because I see this guy's glove and the base is right there. I don't really see his hand anywhere there. But the motion, the dirt, his face, giving that mwah to his helmet and everything like that. It also shows you that, like, you know, there's a reason why baseball is played on dirt. It's gritty. It's a gritty sport. It's grittier than what you would expect. And that was from Alan Trammell in 1993, and this is Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell in 1992 in Anaheim Stadium with some hard-ass Detroit jerseys. Man, these things, I'm surprised dudes didn't wear like baseball jerseys like that. Like, they wore football and basketball jerseys a lot back then, but like these baseball jerseys are hard. I'm not gonna run. Man, these things are hard. And a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful portrait. Now, like, look at those smiles. Just, it's just something. It just makes you feel good. You know, it makes you, when you look at these guys, it makes you feel like I'm gonna go watch a 1992 Detroit Tigers game. And I'm pretty sure he took this on some form of a Hasselblad of Mamiya, because now this is a very, very sharp and well composed and lit picture. And again, the red, orange, I see that a lot with a lot of his pictures. Another good double page. Here we have, oh, and I know this, Pete Rose. Really, really great player. And Mike Schmidt in his home. And damn, Mike Schmidt, how much money was this boy making? That pool, Lord, that's house. I also love those 75. I also love those 70s, 80s, like rich people house designs. They look very cozy, but also opulent. It's like my granddad's house. And this picture here was taken in 1974, Johnny Bench. Pretty good exposition here. I like how you have one eye. This eye right here is shadowed up, looking at, you know, he's looking for what the call on the play is. Maybe he got him, maybe he looked it up too early. You can't quite tell, and that's a good thing about these kind of pictures too, that sometimes the action is there, but the result isn't. So, you know, unless you know what happened that game, you go look it up. It makes you curious. It does. Some of these pictures might make you curious to be like, to scratch that itch. Like, no, did he get there safely? You know, I can only imagine you feel that if you really like baseball, though. Let's see, 63. So yeah, you know, I love looking at his 60 pictures though, because most of them are black and white. Because I don't think color film really became, I wouldn't say popularized, but it didn't become a standard until about late 60s, 70s-ish. You know, at the time, color film was a lot slower, a lot more specified. You know, they really weren't reaching 800, 1600 ISO speeds. Not quite yet. So black and white was mostly a go-to, especially because they had the higher speeds. The camera technology at the time was, you know, more designed for them and everything. And also, you know, for publication in papers, most papers are basically black and white anyway. And TVs were kind of, you know, they were rolling in the 50s, really rolling in the 60s, and were like mainstays in the 70s. But even the TVs at that time also were mostly in black and white, a lot, you know, especially like early 60s too. A lot of them were still, you know, newscasts and broadcasts. They were still mostly black and white. So, sign of the times, but I also feel like his earlier work, because of the black and whiteness though, I wouldn't say it's like a somberness to it, but it feels a lot deep. His newer stuff is like punching at you. But his older stuff, there's a deepness to it. It kind of makes me think of like a teenage angst in youth, because he started as a teenager. So it has that teenage angsty youth kind of feel to it, especially this one. I like this one with not many people in the crowd. It's just, you know, I feel like I can hear the wind in there. And he looks like he's like, oh, with that finger, you see that finger pointing right there? He like, boy, I know you didn't just call that a strike, you know. Oh, and again, I'm guaranteed 79. I guarantee you this picture is taken 79. 64. Okay. So yeah, again, because these pictures were also taken in 64 as well. But so I guess this is probably around when he started using whatever film stock this is. And like I said in the beginning, you know, color film wasn't quite a mainstay yet, but it existed though. But you can see kind of off this color, you know, it was probably a high ISO kind of film. But because of the lights, these lights look like they're pretty yellowed and everything like that. It gives a harsh, intense yellow vibe, but at the same time, it's a certain kind of vibe itself. I don't really vibe with it, but it's one nonetheless. And this is about Sparky Anderson. I think he looks like he's a coach or some kind of manager at this point. And he really looks like he's in thought. Like, I really would like to know what he is thinking about. That looks very serious. So, anyways, damn. I wonder if I can finish this. Am I still recording? Still recording. I'm on the last of my battery, folks. So we are going to finish this up with another portrait. Got the Milwaukee Brewers, but his cap is saturated in black tone. So it's almost, you can barely see his cap. So it's almost like it's floating above him and everything. Again, you see the key light in his eyes, keeping the darkness here and around his body. You know, focus on the face, focus on the franchise. Great picture taking. And we're going to stop here on this last one. The Philadelphia Phillies probably winning a World Series, I'm guessing. Let's see, what's that last one? Okay. Yeah, League Champion Series, Dallas Green. Okay, so yeah, the League Championship Series, that's the series before the World Series. Philadelphia won this in 1980s. He's looking like he's finna sniff that pure. He about to fall off of his rocker. They look so happy, so incredibly happy. But I wanted to also just get back to the first couple pages because I missed that on accident. But I want to talk about this. I love the field work. I love how he's got him in their design. It looks like he's on the biggest watermelon you've ever seen. Just amazing picture for the first picture. And then the way this title card here is out here. 30 years of baseball through the lens of Walter Eos. I'm gonna say Eos. That sounds, because it sounds kind of Greek, like a Eos. I'm gonna just go with Eos. It sounds nice. Diamond Dreams. You know, what can you say? They're greatest photographer ever, in my opinion, and that's the gist of this book. I'm glad to read it to you guys, and unfortunately, I will not be giving this one away. I don't think I could give away any book by Walter, to be quite frank, because his pictures are just too damn good. But I'm glad to share it with you guys. We will have the ISBN number in the description, but I'll read it for you guys real quick just so you can hear it, and then when you see it, it's easier for you to get to. It's ISBN number 0-316-42012-3. I'm glad to have read this amazing book for you guys. Don't get hit by random baseballs when you're playing baseball. I don't know. Be safe out there. Be safe when you're playing baseball. Go to a couple baseball games. Take your family to a baseball game just to chill out and have fun. I always like going to baseball games and just getting a nice drink and maybe catching a ball with my cup. It's one of the most easygoing, chillest sport events that you can possibly go to. It's a lovely sport, and Walter just shows you the loveliness of it in full with his discography. I don't think you should say discography for a photographer, I guess. His portfolio up to this point in 1995. Beautiful work. This was released the year I was born. So I have a very, very, very intimate feeling with this, because this book basically feels like I'm in it almost. I just get attached to things my birth year. But anyways, special thanks to Michael McMillan, Ann McMillan, Laura Vancil, and Paul Sheridan. Hope you guys get this book, because I know I'm glad I did, and I will see you later.